What's up, everyone? It's Adrian from Draft Time, and I'm super pumped because tonight is the first night of the NFL season. We got the Houston Texans going up against the Kansas City Chiefs, and on FanDuel and DraftKings, we got the single game slate. Each of them is giving out a $1 million prize at first place, okay? So in this video, I'm going to go over all of the players playing in the game, our projections for the game, and strategies for the single game slate tonight. Now, even though there's a $1 million prize going to first place, my guess is that this prize is not going to be won by a single person. It's going to be split by a bunch of people who are tied for first, because I really feel like this game is going to play out exactly how we're expecting it to play out. I think that Kansas City and that offense with Mahomes is going to run circles all over Houston Texans defense, which last year had the 29th ranked pass defense in the whole NFL. And not only that, but this Kansas City offense, you know, they have most of the same guys still on that offense. They have a lot of cohesion, a lot of chemistry already carrying over from last year's Super Bowl, whereas this Houston Texans offense, you know, there's a lot of new guys on there. They got Randall Cobb. They have no DeAndre Hopkins. They got David Johnson now. And, you know, they would have really benefited from a full training camp in a preseason. But, you know, this is their first game of the season, and I don't expect them to have much cohesion, especially with the Hopkins gone. I mean, that was Desean Watson's go-to target. So I really only see this game playing out one way. You know, the Chiefs going off, Mahomes having a big game. So that being said, you know, I think that pretty much everyone's going to have Mahomes at the captain spot and at the MVP spot on FanDuel. There are going to be some people who have Desean Watson at the MVP spot. So, you know, if you fade Mahomes and you choose Watson instead, which, you know, it very well is possible that Watson ends up having a bigger game than Mahomes. I don't think it's going to happen, but it is possible. But it's not like you're going to be the only one who fades Mahomes for Watson. That being said, there are some flyers that you might want to take a look at, specifically Ricky Seals-Jones. Okay, we haven't projected to score 5.63 fantasy points for the captain spot on DraftKings. Okay, his normal projection is just 3.75, and he's only $1,600 on DraftKings. Okay, so that's a guy that you want to look out for. I don't think too many people are going to have him. And if you go back to last season when he was on the Browns, he had 4 touchdowns in 14 games. That means he scored a touchdown in 29% of his games. He didn't have a really big season. He only had like 229 yards. But if he gets a touchdown in this game, which is very possible, especially with Mahomes throwing to him instead of Baker Mayfield, he could end up being someone who, you know, you put on your team on DraftKings and you lock him into the captain spot, and, you know, you could get a bunch of other guys to build around him and, you know, pick up, you know, maybe a Mahomes, a Watson, Clyde Edwards-Helaire, along with some other receivers who you wouldn't normally be able to fit if you put someone like a Mahomes at the captain spot. Ricky Seals-Jones is someone you want to look out for if you want to, you know, kind of choose a flyer. Now, what I'm looking at right here is our optimizer for the single game slate, which you can access on DraftDime.com. You can sign up for a free 7-day trial if you just want to try it, see how it works out. You could cancel anytime before the 7 days are done, and you won't be charged. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and run. Let's run 25 lineups, okay, for the single game slate, for the showdown actually for DraftKings. And so your top lineup is going to be Mahomes at the captain spot, obviously. Then you got Randall Cobb. With DeAndre Hopkins gone, you know, I think Will Fuller and Randall Cobb are going to get a lot of targets. Who knows? Maybe Randall Cobb will be reinvigorated in this Texans offense. Clyde Edwards-Helaire, okay, the running back for the Chiefs, especially with no Damian Williams. Everyone knows about him. He's not a secret anymore. He should have a breakout season. Desean Watson, Darrell Williams, and Harrison Butker. Okay, now this lineup, you know, might be able to cash. I don't think a lineup like this is necessarily going to win you first place because you got Clyde Edwards-Helaire and Darrell Williams in the same lineup. It is possible, but I don't think it's likely that both of these running backs go off. Maybe one of the two go off. But if you actually scroll down here, I want to show you guys something. In this 6 top lineup here, you got Darrell Williams at the captain spot, and that allows you to get Randall Cobb, Travis Kelce, Clyde Edwards-Helaire, Desean Watson, and Patrick Mahomes. Okay, so it allows you to pick up those 5 guys because his salary is so small. And if Darrell Williams just gets you a touchdown, maybe a couple of receptions, 30 rushing yards or so, this could end up being the top lineup. So, and this is already the 6th top lineup overall when you use the optimizer. So this is a lineup I would consider using. But anyways, let's go ahead and go into FanDuel and check out FanDuel. And I'm going to go ahead and run 20 lineups as well on this. And for FanDuel, for the MVP costs the same amount as the utility spot. So Patrick Mahomes is $16,500, whether you put him in the MVP spot or if you put him in the utility spot. He's still going to be $16,500. That's why it's a little bit different than DraftKings. So most of these top lineups are going to have either Patrick Mahomes or Desean Watson at that MVP spot. But with this lineup, you got Patrick Mahomes, Clyde Edwards-Helaire, Desean Watson, Mecole Hardman, and Sammy Watkins. Okay, so this is a lineup that could end up being the number 1 lineup because you got Mahomes and a bunch of receivers of his and his running back. He could throw touchdowns to all 3 of those guys. And then you got Desean Watson, who maybe he gets a bunch of rushing yards, gets 300-400 passing yards because he's playing from behind the whole game. So this is a lineup that could end up being the top lineup. Now, you're probably not going to be the only person who has this lineup. And as a matter of fact, there's probably going to be hundreds of people who have the same lineups. But, if you have hundreds of people splitting $1 million prize, and then also, the top 100 prizes, that's still a pretty decent amount. But let's just go ahead and scroll down over here. And for the 7th top lineup, you'll notice the 5th top lineup is where you have Desean Watson. So it's basically the same exact lineup as the first lineup, except Desean Watson is your MVP. So you might want to consider entering that lineup just in case Watson ends up having a bigger game than Mahomes, which is possible, especially if he's playing from behind and racks up, 400 yards or so. But I don't think it's likely. And if you did have Watson as your MVP, I would want to have one of his receivers also in the lineup. So, if I did have Watson as my MVP, I would probably consider using the 7th lineup here where you have Will Fuller in the lineup. But actually, that being said, this lineup also has Clyde Edwards-Helaire and Darrell Williams. And I talked about having 2 running backs from the same team. I mean, it's possible that they both go off, but highly unlikely. So if that was actually the case where you wanted Desean Watson as your MVP, I would probably use this 9th lineup here. 11th lineup where you have Desean Watson, David Johnson, Clyde Edwards-Helaire, and Jordan Akins in your lineup. You got the tight end for Desean Watson, and then you got David Johnson, who's a good receiver out of the backfield, and it's possible that Desean Watson throws a couple of touchdowns to him. Anyways, that's kind of my analysis for the slate tonight. It's a little bit early right now, so these projections could change, although I don't anticipate them changing. But if you guys have any questions, just leave some comments in this video. Be sure to shoot this video a thumbs up so we can get a lot more people watching these. The more people who start watching these, the more I'll actually do them. Remember, you can sign up for a free trial to access these tools that I'm using right here. And I wanted to show you something actually before I'm finished. If you go over to DraftKings, I talked about locking in Ricky Seals-Jones into your captain spot. So the way you would do that is you would find Ricky Seals-Jones in this player pool, and you would hit this little lock icon next to his name, and this is his captain. This is to lock him into the captain position. You see, this is his flex position. So if you wanted to lock him into the flex position, you would hit the lock there. But we want to lock him into the captain position because, like I said, he's only 2,400 at that captain spot, and he could get you a touchdown. So let's go ahead and lock him in. We'll just keep it at 3 lineups, and then that's how you get the Ricky Seals-Jones lineup. And with this lineup, we have him, Randall Cobb, Travis Kelce, Clyde Edwards-Helaire, Desean Watson, and Patrick Mahomes. So good luck to everyone tonight. I hope that all of our members and all the people watching this video win a lot of money. Peace.